Welcome to our school, one of the best in the Ульяновsk region. We're proud that it bears the name of our famous countryman, the hero of socialist labor, former director who devoted his life to our small hamlet, Mikhail Nikolaevich Kostin. Mikhail Nikolaevich Kostin, born in January 31st, 1931, in the village of Zhiguli, Kobyshev region, in a peasant family. After graduation, he interned at the technical school and then successfully graduated from the Ульяновsk Agricultural Institute. In 1958, he was sent to the work at our farm. Until 1963, Kostin worked here as chief animal technician. Then he was promoted to the post of director of the state farm. Having become a director, Kostin didn't stop at the knowledge he gained. He studied the mechanization and economy on his own, trying to introduce the experience of other farms in his state farm. Kostin graduated from the high school in Moscow, was engaged in scientific work. The books of Kostin were published in different times and translated into many different languages. A giant in the steppe. If the earth feeds us, by ways of exaggeration. Mikhail Nikolaevich was demanding of himself, took care of people, and treated the elderly especially sincerely. Mikhail Nikolaevich was always interested in sport achievements, in major performances of the state farm, school affairs. He helped the school a lot in purchasing equipment and decorating. He considered the school to be workshop number 1. In 1989, at the request of teaching staff, the school was named after Mikhail Nikolaevich Kostin. There are many good deeds on account of Zernosov's school children, so the school is quite worthy in the name of its famous countryman. And such a person, our people will not forget in their memory of him. It will be in our heart. Our state farm was organized in 1929. In those years, 110 new grain farms were organized in the region of the Middle Volga, including ours. Our state farm was named after Nadezhda Krupskaya, who sent letter to the workers wishing them success in their work. There is Nikolai Grigoriev, the first director of the farm, and colonist Fyodor Arkadievich, the chief engineer, with his wife. In the first summer, offices of our farm were placed in tents. From 1933 to 1939, our farm produced the newspaper Udarnik, and one of the streets of our farm is named after Nikolai Utkin, one of the organizers of collective farms, who was killed by fists near the village of Mordovo озеро. In 1931, the war broke out. 500 people from our farm went to the front, and 203 of them were killed. Workers of the farm sent to the farm socks, mittens, and pouches for check. And there is uniform jacket bag what Colonel Vasily Nikiforovich, with his orders and medals.
In 1963, the state farm was headed by Kostin Mikhail Nikolaevich. He was a head with the capital later. In 1979, the village workers were presented with paintings by Ульяновsk artists. Many works are devoted to local residents, those who dearly wrote in gold letter the history of the most famous economy of the Ульяnovsk region. All the paintings took a worthy place in the local museum. In one of the halls of the museum there are materials about famous people lived in our state farm. Film producer Ivan Vashilin, the captain of third rank Moshe Nikolai Viktorovich, writer Anatoly Zhukov, announcer Valentina Leontieva, and others. More than 27 years as director worked Golubkov Anatoly Ivanovich. The museum was visited by many guests. This is evidenced by the gifts collected in one of the halls of the museum.
On the ground floor, in one of the halls of the museum, there is a diorama which presents an element of flora and fauna of our farm and elements of paleontological exposure of the Middle Volga region. The vegetation is also compact but diverse. We see here an oak, a birch, a weeping birch and a part of a rye field. Next part is mammal skeleton. Teeth, ribs, vertebrae is always found on the territory of Ульяновsk region.
As long as we remember the past, we have a future. It seems that we'll always have it because every person should do everything in his power for this. Helping to preserve the museum in our village, don't forget the history and culture of our native land. We certainly take a step into the future, perhaps also inscribing our line in the history of our small homeland and Ульяновsk region.